on the
Some couple of weeks back in Oniru in the Lekki axis of Lagos State, I was with a very prominent real estate founder, CEO and developer based in Lekki as well. He owns some of the smartest real estate properties here on the Lagos Island and as well as in the UK. I heard a story of a very young man who virtually does nothing much and lives way big. And when I say way big, I mean way big. He balls every now and then, has the latest supercars around, and he flies out of the country at will whenever he gets tired and bored. And when this guy was asked what he was into, he simply said he is into facility management. Facility management, how? Does this guy manage the refineries in the country? And that was the question that popped up on my mind. Well, no. But this is the best part. It happened that my guy inherited as a legacy 3 floors on a high-rise building from his late father. I'm certain his father was one of the earliest smart investors back then, probably 40-50 years ago. And the high-rise building is located somewhere in Marina on Lagos Island, where we have most of the biggest corporate headquarters in Nigeria today. This same guy makes roughly about $83,300 which is about 35 million naira per floor. Mathematically, he makes a whopping sum of about $250,000, approximately 105 million naira per year on 3 floors. And breaking it down, he makes roughly about $20,700, which is about 8.7 million naira per month on the average, just as passive income on his inherited real estate property. 8.7 million naira per month. Please, if you know of any job, any kind of job at all or investment that pays that way big with all the conveniences, please kindly tell me in the comment section below. And from there, I just concluded that a very good man not only leaves a good legacy in terms of quality education for his children, but also leaves the best and the smartest investment for his children's children. And that is very deep. Don't forget, some legacies can be liabilities. Some can seriously choke as well. Welcome back to the Bishop Royalty from Queen's Impressions. I am Alolu Ashegun Adeyemi. You can call me the Bishop, and I am here to make you filthy rich. If you're new here, I say welcome aboard. And if you're enjoying this video already, kindly give it a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button down there if you are here too. And as well, enable the notification bell so you will be the first to know whenever I upload a new video. All this helps me improve on the next videos. So, 7 ways real estate can make you really filthy rich. First of all, the reason we are all here in the first place is about making more and more and more money. And believe me, these days you can build some very serious wealth over a very short period of time with real estate, irrespective of your age, your income size, your social status, either you are single or you are a female. There is absolutely no reason at all for a rush. I promise you, if you watch this video to the end, I'm going to blow your mind away by sharing with you a bonus tip, which is going to be the last. A very easy way to start your own real estate business and investment with 0 kobo. Yes, you heard me right, with 0 kobo, absolutely no money required. See, with real estate, it is no more a drop of water. It is now a tanker of water at a time makes an ocean. Very fast. Way number 1, real estate offers you predictable cash flow. I mean, cash flow that are very predictable. Cash flow is simply a net spendable income that you get from your investment after all operating costs and mortgage payments have been done. There is always an opportunity for greater or more consistent return. I mean, more cash inflow with real estate than with any other investment. When we say a community or a property is well designed, it is simply because we can see the beauty, the amenities, the infrastructures, and a population large enough to justify it. For sure, people will always need a place to live. The market for multifamily apartments in particular is growing very fast. As apartments become more attractive and smarter, people are less likely to buy houses. And if you have some multi-family smart apartments or homes or houses, you can continue to generate, increase, and enjoy your passive income for life. Besides, real estate investment is the best choice and the smartest move for retirement. It is a self-sustaining asset, while stock, on the other hand, are a self-liquidating ones. Real estate will continue to appreciate over time, over the years, not only covering you indefinitely with cash flow, but also leaving you a very good legacy to pass on to your children, like in the case of the man I talked about in my opening remark. On the other hand, very soon the hunger and the need for commercial properties will begin to rise drastically across Nigeria, most especially in the whole of Ibeju-Lekki, in Lekki, in Eko Atlantic City and their environment, simply because of all the big plans inbound by both the government at the federal and at the state levels, as well as the private sector, such as the Dangote refinery and the petrochemical plants. And in case you don't know, a new international airport, deep sea port, the free trade zone, and many more are currently undergoing rapid development and the fastest growth in the Ibeju-Lekki axis of Lagos Island. For your information, Ibeju-Lekki and the Lagos Island in general will soon become the new economic hub for Lagos State and Nigeria at large. Kindly watch out for my upcoming video on Ibeju-Lekki, coming very soon. Way number 2. Real estate appreciates in value over time. There is no doubt that the right investment, I repeat, the right investment will continue to appreciate over time. Real estate is real, and it is always a good idea to put your money in tangible assets. Let me be clear. That doesn't mean that all real estate are good investments, but the very good ones offer you high returns because it also provides you with positive leverage, which means you can use your properties as collaterals for loan and do smart businesses and investment. But you have to be very careful though. I know of a client who keeps saying buying real estate is the best decision of his life and has made him very rich. Well, I say mostly through necessity and not that it was part of his plan, because he needed a place to stay and live in anyway. So he bought his first property, a studio apartment in a very promising neighborhood, after scrapping together a few borrowings from friends and families around him. Less than a year later, the studio apartment doubled in value, giving him enough cash to pay off his debts and make up to 40% down payment on a 2-bedroom apartment. He later sold the apartment at a higher price and rolled into a 3-bedroom apartment with a BQ. He continued like that, and today he has a couple of these apartments across a few reputable estates, which increases his cash flow by up to 1,000%. Now he lives in a 5-bedroom, fully detached duplex in one of the most popular estates around. Buying that little studio apartment was the most important decision he ever made in his life, because it just got him into the game. Way number 3. Real estate gives you a hedge over inflation. A very good and well-researched real estate property certainly appreciates in value over time, like we have been emphasizing, and this helps you keep up with inflation. As economies expand, the demand for real estate drives rent higher. This, in turn, translates into higher capital value and cash flow for investors. While most people fear inflation, this is not the case for real estate investors. Investing in property is an excellent hedge against inflation. As the price level goes up, so does the rental income you get, as well as the investment value from your property. This means that real estate investors are protected against both immediate and the long-term effect of inflation. Although this might not be the first benefit of real estate investment that comes to mind, but with the present state of the economy in Nigeria today, you have to take it into serious consideration, because for real estate investors, an increase in the cost of living is associated with a growth in their cash inflow. As simple as that. Way number 4, real estate is improvable. One of the most unique and attractive advantages of real estate is that it is improvable, or say upgradable. Property flipping. Just because real estate is a tangible asset, I mean it is made up of constituents that you can feel, like the soil, like the bricks, the woods, the glass, the concrete, and so on. You can simply improve on the value of any property with some simple upgrades and some sweet equity. Add some spices to a degraded or an outdated property. Whether the repairs are structural or cosmetic, you can do it yourself or you hire somebody to do the job. The principle remains the same. Or probably you buy a carcass, that is an uncompleted building, and you build it to finish it. Whichever way, just by improving a property, you can make a piece of real estate worth a whole lot more. Property flipping is still one of the best smart ways in the real estate investment world today. Property flipping, in simple terms, means just buying a piece or pieces of real estate properties at a low price, improve on it by giving it all kinds of upgrades, cosmetics, facelifts, and finally selling at a higher price for very good profits. A few months ago, after the lockdown, work suddenly began at some new gold mining sites outside of Lagos State. A lot of foreigners moved into the nearby town, and the demand for very nice apartments became the big deal. I helped negotiate a few deals, and a very good apartment that would normally go for about 150,000 naira per year was given out to the foreigners at the rate of 150,000 naira to 200,000 naira per month, depending on the proximity to the city hub, access to the main road, and more, with at least 2 to 3 years rent in advance. The very few duplexes that were available rolled into 700 to about 800,000 naira per month, and they were the first to be occupied. Almost the same rental price in some part of Lagos. All that just because of the sudden activities that started within a few weeks. Immediately, a lot of landlords and landowners started borrowing to build and or facelift their properties for better deals. Now, the worst apartments over there have been upscaled automatically. They are now doubled in rental price. There are just a few apartments for the locals. I mean, beautiful ones are far gone. At least spend the time the foreigners remain. The race for beautiful apartments and houses have become over there now. Recently, I saw a few apartments and I was amazed at the incredible art and POP works that was installed in there. Way number 5, real estate can be leveraged. One of the most important advantages of real estate investment is leveraging. Leveraging occurs when a mortgage is used to reduce the amount an investor gathers in total as a capital required to purchase a property. Leveraging is simply getting a loan or mortgage from a financial institution and using the borrowed capital to increase the potential return of an investment. But note, I strongly advise you to be very careful if you are taking up a loan or you're going with mortgage. Be very clear with all the terms and conditions that would come with the borrowing. Be certain of the ways you intend to pay back, and most importantly, involve your financial advisor or expert. Besides, leveraging offers equity growth through debt reduction. Way number 6. Real estate is just the best strategy to fully enjoy retirement. For instance, I plan to retire at the age of 40. I didn't say that. Trust me, lie, we die here. Well, when real estates are being purchased, the cash flow is lowered, meaning it shakes your purse for a while and the principal reduction on the mortgage, that is, if you have one, becomes less. Over time, the mortgage payment spread across a certain number of months is eventually paid for. Hallelujah. And then the cash flow begins to increase again. Oh, praise God. But we can say in some certain respect that mortgage is a kind of a forced savings program, yielding greater results and amounts as time goes by, which makes a perfect investment for retirement when due or at any time you feel like retiring. A well-planned real estate investment increases your cash flow down the road to retirement. So, if you have rental properties, they will always keep working for you even when you are sleeping and or after retirement passively. So, buying several residential and or most importantly rental properties that generate enough income to cover your expenses offers you the freedom to do whatever you enjoy doing most instead of spending all your time at work or working your entire time to retirement. Sometimes it is a pity seeing some very old people with white hairs still scrapping for jobs or queuing and struggling for retirement benefits that comes really very hard these days. So all this is really about you. From now on, I deeply encourage you to always consider going into the real estate with a business mindset. I mean, in terms of investment and not only to live in the properties. The least you can do is to buy a land and wait to sell. I tell you, this is one of the biggest secrets of about 90% of the billionaires we have in the world today. Because they all know real estate investment will always appreciate drastically over time, irrespective of what the economy feels like. They all invest when the prices are very low because they also know that in 6 months to a couple of years, depending on the location, as I always say, location is king. And the transformation that takes place around the properties, they would always make far more profits in their investment with real estates. And lastly, many businesses come and go, but one thing remains very certain. People, we will always need lands and or homes. You don't have to have all the millions in the whole world to buy a land. There are still a few ones in their hundred thousands. The least you can do is to invest in lands, either buying and holding to sell and or for rental incomes. And here is the bonus tips. Way number 7. Real estate can earn you up to 5% commission on deals. See guys, you don't have to do anything much than refer clients to make real estate purchases and bam, you keep hitting the jackpot and you keep getting paid up to 5% commission on any deal depending on the property immediately after a successful transaction has been made. And that could range between 10,000 to 500,000 naira per deal depending on the property. We will give you all the needed support 100% and we will be with you every step of the way to answer your questions and that of your clients. Kindly use the affiliate program link in the description below to join my Telegram or WhatsApp group for more details. And that wraps it up for today. I'm certain I have been able to make billionaires already. All you need to do right now is to pick up your phone, dial the number on your screen, and let's get into business right now. Please don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and as well subscribe to my YouTube channel. Enable the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever I upload a new video. All the social media handles at The Bishop Realty. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.